All right, Shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom. This is the brother Yakanan from the GMS Houston camp, and just a quick lesson going into this bill that just passed, or not passed, but I believe it's introduced, and what the intention of it is to, well, you just see in the video. And you see I got Revelation 13:16 pulled up. So guess what? This is going into Revelation 13:16, the microsia. So, hey, we're just going to get right into it. This is from Instagram. This showed up the other day.
In Olympia believe they need to restrict microchipping. When I say microchipping, we are specifically talking about banning companies from requiring or pressuring employees to inject a chip under their skin. You're probably wondering, is this even happening? The answer is no. We don't know of any company requiring or forcing their workers to get microchipped. The main sponsor of House Bill 2303 is Representative Brianna Thomas, who represents areas like West Seattle. The goal of her bill is to do a preemptive strike just in case companies get any ideas. What's also interesting, not a lot of debate on this proposal this session, but it is passing through with flying colors. It already passed the full House. It's on the Senate side now. The Senate Labor and Commerce Committee voted yesterday and advanced a proposal to the next step.
I recommend the bill to you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Senator Schessler. Seeing no further discussion.
Well, you could say there is some bipartisan fear over the microchip issue when you look at how lawmakers are voting so far. But in one of the earlier committee meetings, one lawmaker, Representative Joel McIntyre, who voted against it, said he was in support of it initially, but in the end he had concerns of government overreach and telling companies that they can't even talk about something with their workers.
They can't even ask, and that's how I understand the bill as it's written. I thought to myself, then what right do I have, even as a lawmaker, to come into the workplace and say that this novel technology cannot be even discussed or requested by the employer to the employee?
Supporters say they don't want employers to ever be able to surveil and track their workers, with Representative Thomas sending us this statement, quote, "There are reports of voluntary microchipping. It would be extraordinarily difficult, if not impossible, to mitigate the civil rights and workers' rights issues that would come if and when companies start requiring these. Because of the power dynamic, true employee consent for these programs is impossible. We don't want to have to try to clean up an impossible mess after it's too late. So we are getting ahead of the problem."
And it's beautiful because they say they're trying to get ahead of the problem, but there's nothing that you're really going to be able to do to prevent this, because this is of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. This is the Most High's microsia. This is the Most High's charagma. And this is to sift out those that truly worship Him from those that don't. And it's just beautiful that you've seen these things come to pass, and they make it vague, and they're not telling you everything, because it says, oh, there are reports of voluntary microchipping, which there are. I've seen the videos of different companies where they microchip their employees. That's going back to maybe 2015. They've been microchipping before that. And then also in Sweden, Sweden is like the hub where it's popular. It's rare, but a lot of Swedish citizens have a chip, but the warning going out not to take the chip, which no Israelite should take it. It's going out to all of us. But the warning is going out primarily to you Israelites that are here in Babylon the Great, because this is the place that is set for destruction. Let me get this. Revelation 13:16. "And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." So you're going to receive a mark. That word for mark is charagma. So this is G5480, charagma, a stamp, an imprinted mark. So the mark branded upon horses. So this is a badge of servitude, a graven mark. I mean, it's something that's carved into you. And this is the micro C hip. So we're gonna go here to Harax, the G5482, and it says the sharpened and pale stake palisade. This is the delivery agent, meaning that how basically the syringe, that micro C hip syringe that's going to go into your skin, it's going to cut into your skin and deliver that charagma. So we're going to go further to grapho, and then also right here it says from carasso to sharpen to a point akin to grapho through the idea of scratching. So this is scratching the information, scratching or etching, your badge, your identity, which is what is going to have, the companies that are wanting to do this, that they're preemptively striking is, when you work at, wherever you work, you got a badge. Some places you got an RFID badge, and it's going to have your identity, your photo on it, your name, your clearance, whatever. But the micro C hip is going to have all that and then some, because you're going to be able to use it for everything across the board. So this here, G1125 grapho, and it says grave, especially to write, figuratively to describe in writing, says to write with the reference to the form of the letters, to delineate or form letters on a tablet, parchment, paper, or other material. So this is the other material, the micro C hip. It has how do you say, what's in it holds the data, holds the writing, of your name, information, biometrics, all that in this C hip. So this is what's contained in it. So back to Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all, meaning cause, like he's gonna make this happen. He's gonna set up the scenario for this to take place. Yeah, they're trying to get ahead of it now by saying, companies can't force this on you. But, matter of fact, let's see, cause of Poieo G4160, it says to make. It says to be the authors of, the cause, to make ready, to prepare, to acquire, to make thing out of something, to render one anything, to lead him out, to make one do something, to cause one to. So this is going to make you to do it, but it's not like holding a gun up to your head. It's going to be willfully. You're going to have to do this willfully. You're going to have to make the conscious decision that you are going to take this. But through that cause, it's going to be through coercion, through taking away of the comforts that you have. Taking away, making it difficult, making your life difficult, to where everything will be simpler if you just take this C hip. That's how he's causing you to do it, by making your life difficult. So, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So in your hand, it could be your right hand on your left or in your head. Now you have companies that are working on these different C hips. You have companies that focus on putting the right grain of rice. You have other companies that focus on the brain implants. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And this here is showing you that it's tied to the economy. It's tied to economics. So unless you have this badge of identification, which is not going to be a badge, it's going to be inside of you. Like they're talking about in the video, microchipping. Now, this is what they're talking about. Unless you have this, you're not going to be able to buy, sell the things that you're used to doing whenever you want to in this day. You're not going to be able to do that. So, again, all this, they're trying to put this out there. They're trying to, say like they're wanting to stop it, but there's going to be nothing they can do. So I got one more precept, and I'm going to go to Chat GPT, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying. So this is Lamentations chapter 3 and verse 37. Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? So, well, the point being is they're putting out this preemptive law, and what's being set up is the rules for the micro CF. So they're saying they can't force this on you, but we know this is coming to pass. So this ain't stopping Revelation 13:16, because it's written to come to pass. It's going to happen, and we're in these days where it is coming to pass. These are already here. The chips are already here. The companies are here. The infrastructure for the beast system is already here, set up. Everything is already here, and it's waiting to be played out. So, who is he? Who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass? So, you say that the microchip isn't what it is, or you saying that we're going to put this out there to stop this from happening? Guess what? If you saying it, and it came to pass, and the Lord didn't command it, that means you're above the Lord? No, no. In other words, saying this ain't happening. Just because you say something and you hope it comes to pass, guess what? That don't mean it's true. So who is he that saith, and it cometh to pass, when the Lord commandeth it not? So again, the Lord said this is coming. Revelation 13:16 is coming, and it's going to come to pass. So let me open up Chat GPT real quick. And I asked it, what is Washington Bill and HB 2303? And I could have just said HB, but it's all right. Washington House Bill 2303, the 2026 session. So this is right now. It's 2026 right now. We're only in February, the second month. Is a proposed state law in Washington state that would prohibit employers from requiring, requesting, or coercing employees or job applicants to have microchips implanted in their bodies. Now, one of the things that come up is, if this isn't, like, when you see something like this, and it's like, why is this coming up? If microchips aren't a thing, if this is never going to happen, why do they have this? Why are they talking about this? Why is this a talking point if it don't matter? Why is this being brought up? If it don't have any relevance. So, again, the bill is designed to protect worker privacy, bodily autonomy, and personal dignity by outlawing the use of invasive microchip or similar subcutaneous identification or tracking technologies in the workplace. So this is also going back to 2 Thessalonians. This man wants to set himself in the temple and show himself that he is as God, meaning in your body. He wants to put his microchip in you, but and invade all your privacy. He wants to know privacy. He wants to know everything about you, where you're going, what you're thinking, what you're dreaming, what you're seeing, what you're thinking about. This man wants to be the Most High. And when you say this man, this ain't one singular, man we're talking about. This is a whole, what do you call it? There's a whole gang of people, for lack of better words. A whole gang of people in their eyes wide shut chambers in their mask that want to do this. So key points of HB 2303 says ban on employer mandated microchips. Employers could not request, require, or coerce an employee or applicant to have a microchip implanted under the skin for any reason. So they're trying to get ahead of this because companies will try to do this, but sometimes they can you could say they can see ahead a little bit and then try to get ahead of the curve. Like with social media and stuff like that, that shit is a disaster. But you can see lawmakers learning from this stuff because social media, when that first started coming out, Facebook, MySpace, all this kind of stuff, it seemed like it was fun, but now it comes out that, hey, these people have been spying on you, taking all your information, taking your photos, taking your what you think are private messages, all that, they're snooping on you, sharing the information with other, agencies. They're, what you call it? They even set up the way that their apps and programs are set up are to lure you in and get you addicted, through dopamine spikes and different means like that. These are things that are not for your benefit or welfare. So, lawmakers have seen that and they try to, at a certain point, it's almost too late, to try to reel it in. You created a monster, you had no idea. It says definition of microchip. A microchip is defined as a device implanted beneath the skin that stores or transmits personal information that can be read externally. Now, went into the etymology of charagma, charax, and grapho. Is that not saying the same thing? A microchip is defined as a device implanted beneath the skin that stores or transmits personal information. That's what's written on the C-hip. The writing, grapho. Which, hey, you can say right there, auto, personal. Personal, auto, meaning yourself. And then grapho, information. Grapho meaning the writing. So you're writing your personal information, which meaning, autograph, meaning, you're writing your name. But that can be read externally. Devices implanted for legitimate medical purposes, health monitoring, or treatment are excluded from the ban. So things like Neuralink, that would be excluded from the ban. So they got around that. Enforcements and penalties. The bill would allow affected workers to file complaints, and typically state labor authorities could investigate and impose penalties. Some summaries note civil penalties, e.g., at least $10,000 for first violation and higher for repeats. Bro, that's chump change to a $1 billion company, $1 trillion company. This is, man, you throwing pennies in the fountain. You used to have at the mall the fountains everybody throw their stupid coins in. That stuff ain't costing you nothing. And then if everything, the way that money is going digital. So if money is going digital, that means the corporations, whoever, they can just, there's nothing backing it. They just type in, a 1 and a 0. You're not actually losing anything because the money is even more imaginary than it is right now. So this ain't costing nobody anything other than the employee, I should say. The employee gonna get, get a grievous sore and catch a missile, but but yeah. It says purpose. Lawmakers framing the bill argue it protects fundamental rights to privacy and bodily autonomy and prevents employers from using invasive technologies as employment conditions. This ain't doing nothing. A $10,000 fine? I mean, come on, man. They got the motherfucking plants. You know, these plants and refineries out here where I live. I know they got a documentary on them how they pretty much destroyed everything out here, microplastics and everything out here, and they still up and running. So hey, this stuff ain't nothing. This is just setting up the yeah, it's setting up the preliminaries to create the loopholes, the workarounds. That's all this is doing. And I asked it, what is the reasoning of doing this preemptively? It says lawmakers sponsoring the Bill 2303 is intentionally acting preemptively, protecting bodily autonomy and fundamental rights, guarding privacy and personal dignity, which under Esau's rule, you do not have privacy nor dignity. Addressing power imbalance in employment, it's not addressing nothing. Preventing normalization of invasive technology. Now, this is going to make it more normalized because now it's being known. Look, we made a bill about it, all this stuff. Now this is the way everything, since they think this is the way everything is heading, you know, which it is. Says, though there are no known cases yet of employers actually requiring microchips, some see the technology creeping into workplaces globally in other forms. This bill aims to draw a firm ethical line early before the idea becomes normalized or widely deployed. So hey, this is an idea that's creeping in, but this is what the apostles, you know, the apostles of Great Millstone on down have been giving you the warning about. It says aligning with similar laws in other states, Washington's approach reflects a broader trend of states adopting laws to protect workers from invasive identification or tracking implants even before usage becomes common, showing that legislators are responding to potential future risks. You know, I asked it that, or I asked it, are there other bills, companies, or countries that are similar in policy, framework, or talking points? And it said, yes, there are other bills, existing laws, and real-world examples that relate. So the state laws banning mandatory microchipping, which there's already other states. I don't know the exact timeline, but it says states with such bans include Arkansas, California, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, Indiana, Alabama, Mississippi. And this, despite what it looks like, despite them having these laws in place, Revelation 13:16 is still coming to pass. You know, let me see examples from the private sector. Voluntary microchipping. In 2017, a U.S. company called 3 Square Market offered its employees the option to receive a RFID chip implant to access doors, pay for cafeteria services, or log into systems. This was not mandated, and participation was voluntary, but the existence of this practice helped spur the legislative interest in bans like HB 2303. So these are the two examples that I mentioned. You know, 3 Square Market, I mentioned it earlier, and this is also, the apostles have brought this out as well. It says in Sweden, there's a subculture of voluntary microchip implantation used for convenience, and this is the how this is going to be brought about, how so many people are going to fall into this because of convenience. So, example, access controls, storing digital info, it's treated as a personal choice with no legal requirement. Privacy and consent remain central to the debate. So this is even though it says he causeth, it's still going to be a personal choice because you want to be in this society. The only ones that are going to be kept from this are the elect, starting with the 144,000. So continuing, these corporate tech examples are part of the context that legislators cite when justifying proactive laws that the technology exists and may expand, even if not widely used yet. That's right. It's going to expand. It's not widely used yet, but it's something is going to trigger, and it's going to make this expand to where everyone is going to be required to have this. That's fine. I asked it, are there any workarounds that would negate these measures? So they set up these things so they'll look, you can't coerce your employees to take this, whatever. All this is set up, but we know Esau Edom, or in these companies, under this, they got the loopholes, they got the workarounds. They're gonna find a way to make this legal, to make it to where ain't nothing wrong with what we're doing. So short answer, there are potential workarounds with most modern versions of these bills, including HB 2303, are written specifically to reduce or close obvious loopholes. So voluntary programs with incentives. Most discuss gray area. One possible workaround is not requiring implants, but encouraging them through incentives. So this is that cause, encouraging you. Incentives. We're going to make your life easier. Examples include extra convenience, faster building access, easier logins. One of the things that you should, come to mind, the convenience of things, like when I drive to Houston, right? A lot of the times it's easier just to go, take the toll road, whether you take the Beltway 8 or West Park or whatever. But, was it when the pandemic happened? Guess what? They took the toll booths out. So it used to be, hey, you got quarters, you got dollars, or whatever. Go throw your money in there, and you're on the tollway on your way. And they had the Easy Pass, sure, or Easy Tag, whatever it's called, and you could get that, but you could still pay the cash. But when the pandemic happened, now there's no need for it because everybody's inside, and you really don't need to be around people in close proximity like that. So, and you don't need to be handling money because the money is potentially contaminated because everybody's sick. So let's just get rid of it and just have the Easy Tag. So now, if you want to get on the tollway, you got to have Easy Tag. Otherwise, you're gonna get a bill in the mail, a couple of months later, however long later, letting you know you owe this amount. So I remember riding with a brother. We got pulled over on the Beltway, because they were letting you ride for free for a while, but then after a while they started, tracking you. Hey, you owe money on the Easy Tag. You don't have to pass. You need to get off. So, just getting these things were around. They were convenient for you, but now that you don't have the Easy Tag, now you can't ride through, on the tollway anymore to take a shortcut. You got to ride through all the traffic. You got to ride through with the rest of the riffraff. So extra convenience, faster building access, easier logins, small bonuses or perks, access to certain optional facilities. This is the biggest policy concern because the law bans coercion, but coercion can be hard to prove. Right. It's hard to prove. Here it is. Hey, the Beltway, going back to the Beltway, what it was that years ago, when they first opened it, it said, hey, you citizens or whatever, you're going to pay for it. And after a certain amount of time, we're going to remove all the tolls, and it's just going to be another highway. That never happened. They sold the highway to a foreign company. They kept it open, kept collecting tolls into their own pocket. And you would think that the Texas owns this. No, it doesn't. It's owned by a foreign company. So, just you're paying for this. You're for the convenience. You think you're, you know, getting some convenience, but really you're being coerced into this. You're being forced into it. Employers might argue participation is purely optional. So this is optional. You don't have to do it, but you want to work, right? You want to feed your family, right? Right? This situation has already appeared in real world discussions after voluntary pilot programs such as those offered by Three Square Market. Why the laws try to address this, many bills, including Washington's, includes language banning direct or indirect pressure, not just outright mandates. So using external devices instead of implants, it ain't gonna be wearables. It's gonna be implants. There ain't no workaround. It's gonna be in you, in your head, in your hands. So that one right there, already out. So number 3, third-party contractor structures. A theoretical workaround discussed by policy analysis. A company does not require implants directly. A contractor or facility operator requires certain access methods. So, like if you're a temp hire, you're a temp. Guess what? You work for a third party. You don't work for the actual company. Learning that, used to work in offices. I'm thinking I work, you know, my simple ass think I work for the company in the mailroom because I'm in the building. No, I work for a third party company. And the people that actually work for the company, they don't consider me. Yeah, I got a badge and everything like that. I got to go through security like everybody else. I park in the same parking lot, go to the same lunchroom. I'm not a part of that company. I don't get the same benefits that they do at the company. No, I work for a third party company. Anything happens, shit, fuck it. Whatever, you off the schedule. Most modern bills attempt to block this by covering employers, agents, contractors acting on their behalf. So you don't even get the same. You don't get the same rights. They got the workers' rights and all that kind of stuff. All that's trash. Yeah, medical classification loopholes. Most laws explicitly exclude medical implants. Hypothetical edge case: a device has both medical and identification functions. However, regulators typically look at primary purpose. So this was not an easy workaround. Yeah. Cultural or social normalization. Long-term scenario. The most realistic workaround is not legal, but social. If implants became widely adopted voluntarily, as seen in small tech communities in Sweden, then employers might not need to require them at all. Workers could already have them for personal use. Like, say, I think I remember a few weeks back seeing a video of one of the Kim Kardashian, asking about brain implants, so she could be smarter. And knowing through the years, like whores like her, Paris Hilton, you know, whore celebrities, like that have an influence on women, whatever they started doing, whether it be BBLs or Botox, lip injections, whatever, implants, jumping man to man, whatever they start doing, people start following it. Then when people start following it, guess what? The men gonna start doing it too, because you're not going to be attractive in the eyes of these whores unless you got something, that appeals to them. And what's going to be appealing? Oh, you got the microchip? Oh, you can. Oh, that's fancy. Look, you can wave his hand and the door open. Oh, cool. So, these things are going to happen. You can expect to see Jake out there pushing this. Oh man, it's gonna be crazy to see the commercials, the Karagma commercials. They're gonna bring that guy back from he's like the one of the first subjects for the Neuralink. He got, I guess he was in he fell in a rock climbing accident or whatever, and he's in a wheelchair. They got him with a Neuralink controlling the computer, but each time they show him, he looks more and more frail and decrepit, but he can control the computer. And they give him like a whole life story and some heartfelt music and all this stuff, and they to convince you to take it, but just hey, this devil ain't gonna pull any kind of stops. But hey, I'm just gonna continue. Bottom line, direct mandatory microchipping would be clearly illegal under these laws. The main gray area involves voluntary incentives, external tech alternatives, or complex employment structures. So, also asked, why would this become normalized? Now, keep in mind, in this query, I'm asking ChatGPT about this bill. It knows my chat history. It knows all about this. So, not once is it making the connection between, and I've asked it about microchips in Revelation 13:16 before. It's not making the connection here. It's not making it at all, and I'm not bringing it up because I'm not gonna bring it up on this because it's already. We already know. So why would this become normalized? It says there are a few reasons policymakers and tech analysis or analysts say implant-based identification or tracking could become normalized over time, not because it's common now, but because of patterns seen with other technologies. Because I'm trying to understand this as well. Like, this, how, because I know through the scriptures that this is where things are going logically. But for these other companies or for the world or however, it's like, how is this the logical conclusion? Yeah, we got to microchip everybody. Microchips are the future. How was that the logical, future? But anyway, just thinking about it, because like, why, like, if I'm thinking about the future, like my ideal future, or just when I was in the world, my ideal future, because the ideal future now is to see this place, up in flames and to be in the kingdom, but my ideal future back in the world, it didn't involve no microchips. So that, just thinking like, how is this a logical conclusion to jump to? And it says convenience drives adoption. Many technologies that once seemed intrusive became normal because they were convenient. Examples of convenience arguments for implants replacing keys, badges, or passwords, faster payments or logins, automated access to secure areas. This is the same pattern seen with smartphones replacing wallets and maps, contactless payments replacing cash. So, because hey, this is and it's not like they haven't thought about this. This is like this isn't brand new. Like I said, you got the Eyes Wide Shut gang out here, setting up policy, setting up the things that are, taking place. So this ain't nothing new. It's just, it's been here. In early pilot programs, such as those at 3 Square Market, employees used implants to open doors, log into computers, buy snacks. Nothing was mandatory, but the idea was framed as efficiency and ease. Gradual normalization through voluntary use. Technologies often normalize in stages. You know what it kind of reminds me of is in Maccabees, how in the first chapter, it goes, and I believe later on it goes and tells you that at first, it was voluntary. You had Jake that, made league with the heathen, that wanted to do all after the heathen, and then it was, all good. It was voluntary. And then after a while, what came in was a very cruel ruler, and these things were no longer voluntary. You could no longer keep your own customs. You could no longer profess yourself to be a Jew or an Israelite. You had to be all one people. You had to celebrate, all the customs of the Hellenes, or else it was death to you. So these things, just thinking about that, like what comes to mind. Says this pattern. Technology is often normalized in stages: experimental, niche, voluntary convenience, industrial adoption, social expectation. So this pattern has already appeared in small tech communities in Sweden, where voluntary microchip implants are used for transit access, digital identity, event entry. And you can see the uses. And then one company, you can use it for vending machines, log into your computer to open doors. This here for transit, digital identity as your identification card. You no longer have to do it like that. And event entry, so for different events. When something becomes culturally familiar, resistance tends to drop. Workplace security trends, that's fine. Yeah, corporate costs and it's reduced, overhead, all that stuff. Yeah, technology creep, incremental expansion. Yeah, that's fine. I asked it. There's not a widespread use now, but what scenarios could call for this to change? And it says major security shifts, identity fraud or infrastructure threats. If identity fraud or cyber attacks reached a level where passwords and cards were considered unreliable, physical credentials were easily duplicated, critical infrastructure requires stronger authentication or authentication. So governments or industries might push for more security and identity methods. So I mean, you see this almost every day. I even asked I asked Chat about it because you see data breaches almost every other day. 100,000, people's identity leaked, by hackers. Their social security, their banking information, whatever information, and it happens on every app, whether it be you using Facebook, your credit card, your banking, all that stuff. That information gets stolen. So the problem is out there already. So expansion of digital identity systems. Many countries are already building national digital ID systems. For example, Estonia has one of the most advanced digital ID infrastructures in the world. IDs are used for voting, banking, and government services. Currently, these systems use cards, mobile authentication, but some futurists speculate that if digital identity becomes central to everyday life, authentication methods could evolve further, including biometrics or, less commonly discussed, implants, workplace automation, and high security facilities. Certain industries already require strict access control: defense contractors, research lab data centers. If access seems Slovakia. If access systems become increasingly automated, companies might explore technologies that reduce loss. Yeah, that's fine. Public health, medical, cashless, and credential-free infrastructure. There's a gradual shift towards contactless payments, mobile wallets, digital credentials. If societies move further towards fully digital systems, authentication methods could continue evolving. Today, that evolution is happening through smartphones and biometrics. So these things are happening. Cultural normalization through voluntary tech communities. We already went over that. Reality, yeah, whatever. Yeah, acid, yeah, yeah. Let me see if there's anything else in this. Uh, and it keeps giving me reality checks, but the reality is this is going to happen. It don't matter if it's not in use, whatever. And keep in mind, this is Esau Edom's technology, which is ultimately Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai's technology. But all this is that everything that Esau uses is to lure you or to lull you into a false sense of security, a false sense of safety. So everything that you see happening, oh, that's, it's not such a big deal. It's not going to happen. All just because, they're coming up with this and all this kind of stuff. It's to lure or to lull you back to sleep, to be, oh, ain't nothing happening. It's all right. It's all right. Shh, shh, shh. Just hold your hand out. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. A Lord willing, this has been edifying because these things are coming to pass, and it's here, and it's going to happen shortly. Shoot, this morning, the U.S. Struck Iran. That's major. That's major, and we'll have to see what comes of this because the scriptures tell us that the Heavenly Father is going to put the hooks into the jaws of Russia and to lead them. And all the World War III, all this is going to take place in the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat, which means Yahweh's judgment. So in the Middle East and Iran. So we're going to see what these events, how this builds up because we're in the end times, but this ain't, one thing ain't going to happen over another. You're not just going to have World War III and that's it. You're not just going to have the micro C-hip come out and that's it. No, these things are going to be happening around each other, around the same time. And these things must happen. So, hey, Lord willing, this has been edifying. I'm going to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the 144,000 and the rest of the elect. Hey, Shalom.